go. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Alright, since the last episode on reflection so far, I've decided to focus on the issue which appeared as an important one in that episode, namely the problem of too much heat emission from the stove. So I've decided to make a small experiment here today, focusing on trying to limit the heat emission by, simply by maintaining a small fire, a very small fire if that's possible. So how small can it be and how much heat will that emit? The room in here is while the heating pump has been maintained at 18 degrees, and it would be nice to have a few degrees more, so there's a bit to add up. Maybe able to hear, but I will turn off the heating pump and then light a small fire here and try to maintain a moderate fire here, which to see to what extent it's possible to maintain a comfortable temperature in here without it getting too hot. We will open the levers here and the bypass, and actually there is one almost a full piece in here already on the last fire from last night. We can use that as a base for the next one. Nice piece of oak. Of course, the species of wood might be relevant to this to some extent. Some wood will find it easier to burn at a steady pace than other species. I use 2 fire starters now here for these experiments to make sure that they are successful in lighting the fire. Normally that might not be necessary. I'm not sure that I've actually managed to create the cavity. I'll put this upright, and that will make a better cavity here for the fire starters, hopefully. Especially if this one could go a bit down. So where I would normally start up using 2 large pieces, I use 2 smaller pieces now. And also I will, as soon as the fire is getting underway, I will shut down the air supply as much as feasible. There we are. What to put on top then? Need a nice, here is a nice piece of birch. That might be a good idea. Something more down here. Yeah. This, I believe, is some pine. It's even more willing to burn, so I need something which will bring it up and going. Here I have a bit of bark. Bark is actually very useful
kind of leans too much backwards. Put it out here, see if that will work. So let's give it a try. It's now a few minutes past 11 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, let's see. Give it 15 minutes to see if it hasn't catched on. Alright, now actually 20 minutes later, I have had my doubts as to whether it would actually ignite, and I still do. As you may be able to see from the video at this point, there is one flame here at the front. It burns from somewhere below, and it hasn't really managed to put fire to the top piece yet. So let's try to open. Well, it does seem to some extent that there is a certain, it is established to some extent. So sometimes it takes time with this method without a lot of small kindling. Certainly at this point there's no heat to be detected on the surface here, on the cooking top, so no danger of overheating the room at this point. So let's give it more time. It's now 11:30. 12 o'clock now, and the fire succeeded. It was as if when I had opened the door, the hatch here, it gave it a bit of extra air, and when I closed it again shortly after, it was as if it picked up, and has been going on steadily since. So it's caught on now. Service is now hot to some extent, but not seriously so, but still starting to emit some heat to the room, which by now I begin to feel the need for that. As I said, it was only 18 degrees when we started, and I closed off the heating pump, so during this almost an hour which has passed, the temperature has perhaps dropped a little bit, and I do feel I'm sitting still here editing video on my computer when I'm not making these recordings, so it gets a little bit cold, but that will soon be remedied. Let's give it a look. See, some smoke comes out here telling us that put these together. The problem was that this top piece had a unfortunate bent shape, but now we are working. I am going to close the primary air down to 1/3 already, limiting the fire, and the secondary, or sorry, I made the mistake again. I'm going to close the secondary air down to 1/2, and the primary air here at the top I'm going to reduce to 1/2. Well, that did seem to, maybe I should wait a little bit. I'm going to try to open up the primary air again, or let me open the primary air again, and the secondary, well, maybe as I moved the top piece here, maybe that has affected it as well, but now it's I think we can safely close down to half on both of these. We don't need it to have too much air, also reduces the temperature. And so we are well on the way with this experiment, and see you later. 12:31 just now. Sort of a midway report. As you can see, it's still the same 3 pieces. The top piece is now being consumed, and the 2 lower pieces. These 2 lower pieces, they were oak, so they are very good at forming good embers, which will stay alive for a long time. So this actually works so far fine. There's a considerable heat here at the top now, but still the room can easily take it. I will close now the bypass to sort of say heat the entire oven. I've considered that it might even be favorable to open the oven lid a little bit to let the heat from the oven get into the room as well. So that I've done here, you can't see that on this picture, but I have told you. So let's, the idea is now to let it burn on until the top piece here is just about been consumed, and we have a nice bed of embers, and then I will carefully feed it 1 piece at a time on top of the embers. I will close down a little bit the primary air, not altogether closed. The primary air will keep alive the embers at the bottom. The secondary air here at the bottom, I'll close that down 80%. There's no need to give it more secondary air than it needs. It will, to some extent, it will, if available, it will use what it needs. That seems actually to have, been a good idea. Seems to burn a little bit better now to my eyes. As I say, if it has too much air, that reduces the temperature, which is not favorable to the combustion. So let's see how long it'll last. Almost 1 o'clock, 12:57, and as you can see, there's very small flame in the back here, otherwise just a nice well preserved bed of embers. So now it's time to feed the next piece, and the idea still, now here the heat here is not very high at all. I will get the thermometer here just in a little while so we can see how hot it actually is. But still, in the room here, it's a long way to go before it's overheated. So far I'm quite excited. I will feed it 1 piece, and let's see. I have here also a nice piece of birch, which I think will feed nicely on top. And there you are. I will give it a bit of primary air to get it going. That's nice. I will turn down again the primary air in order to preserve the embers. It's emitting quite some smoke, indicating a not clean, a not perfect combustion. The smoke is energy wasted. So I've fetched a thermometer and checked the exhaust from the chimney, and as we saw, there was quite a bit of smoke coming out, and apparently and quite naturally, I think there's a balance between keeping a moderate fire on one hand and an efficient fire on the other hand. So in order for the fire to be efficient, understood as it being able to use as much of the energy in the wood as possible, burning off the sod and the smoke, it of course requires a certain temperature. So that goes against the aim of reducing the intensity of the fire. Coming back now, since we loaded the last piece, the fourth piece of wood here, I do feel the temperature has actually gone up here on the surface. Let's take a measurement here at the center. Yeah, 350, 353 actually. Let's take the far corner out here, 152, so quite a difference there. In the back corner, 100. So that illustrates the span of temperature here on the cook surface. However, I do feel that the fire is too intense now actually, so I will turn down even more the primary air, just an inkling, and I will close down completely the secondary air. So we'll see whether that, I'll actually close down completely also the primary air, see if we can ring it in. Looking inside the firebox here, actually the combustion looks alright. It's not as if everything inside here has turned black from sod, so it may not be all that bad after all. But let's keep track of the temperature. I'll do a measurement inside the box here. 276 in the far end, here next to the fire, 390. Alright, see how long time this ladder piece will last us. 1:30. So the fire has kind of settled in now. You can see this, the last piece is still doing well. It's been not altogether consumed, but a lot of it has already been consumed. Birch is not the most sustainable or in that manner. It will not burn for a very long time. The temperature in the center here 319 now, so that has reduced quite considerably. In the corner out here, 167. In the back corner, 127. So that's interesting. 67 still. So the temperature has come down, and it is noticeable that the heat emitted from the top here has diminished. Let's give it a few more minutes. I want, in order to meet the parameters of this experiment, of course, we need to exhaust every piece before we refuel. And a few more minutes, maybe 15 minutes, it will be done, and we can refuel and see how it does. Now 2 o'clock, and as you can see, the third piece is now reduced to embers. Let's measure the temperature. On top in the center, 277 now. In the front corner, 169. And in the back corner, 121. I'm going to feed it a nice piece now. There's now a nice bed of embers, and I will give it a somewhat large piece of oak. And that should be able to sustain it for probably a couple of hours, if not more, if I can keep down the intensity. So here we have it. Nice embers and a nice heat coming out from here as well. And carefully insert this on top. Press it down slightly. There you are. Just give it some air to start it. So this is the primary air coming up through the ashtray, from the ashtray below, through the grating here, immediately setting off here. And this emits a lot of heat in no time. We have seen here now on the top 275 still, but leaving it like this for any amount of time very quickly will change the scene. So turn that down again, and see how this works out. Hopefully it'll be an hour from now. We can check on it at 3 o'clock. $3 o'clock, and the last piece here, the not altogether small, but well, still a moderate size oak piece of oak is slowly burning away out in here. The small flame and a lot of embers, so that is really a very quiet fire. Let's check the temperature. In the center, 307. The corner out here, 161. Back corner here, 118. So that is, try again here, just for good measure. Yeah, 304. So just around 300 at the hottest spot is in this world a moderate temperature. Let's open up and check the inside firebox here on the right side. 365, and here 412. And looking at it, there's still a lot of wood left in this piece. Let me I think it's okay. And how we're doing heating wise. Outside it is 3-4 degrees. There is hardly any wind, so that is good conditions for this experiment. There is, you can see I'm still wearing this woolen overshirt here, and it's not too hot for me in here. It's pretty nice. It's the right temperature now, I would say. You can check over here on the wall what it says. 21. Over here 27. That's the heat from the top going over here. Check on the table here. 21 and a half. So I would say the temperature in here is just around 21, maybe a little bit more, and that is a comfortable temperature. So 1 hour now with this piece of oak, and I think it'll easily do half an hour more. So actually I'm quite pleased with this experiment. So, and the door here for the baking oven is ajar to let out the heat from the oven to the room. So yeah, you do feel that it's not close to a 400 degrees here. That is noticeable. So actually this is quite positive. So let's give it another half hour. 3:30 exactly, and the oak is still burning here, and apparently there is still something to be had from it. So let's just measure the temperatures on top. 270 now, so temperature here has dropped somewhat. In the corner 162, and in the back corner 101. So I would say that this is a pretty moderate fire, and also heating is equivalent. A lot of heat coming out of here. Of course, the reason why we can do this on one log for that long time is that it is a piece of oak, and it's a hardwood, and it has a lot of burning potential, you might say. There's a lot of, they're heavy, and it is the density and the weight of the wood which really determines how much they can burn. So that's probably would have had to change or to refuel half an hour ago, or at least if it had not been for that. So still though, I think I will let it go on for perhaps another half hour. The heat in the room here is, let's check over here, 20.5 degrees over here on the table, 20.4. So temperature in the room has apparently decreased a little bit, but still that's nice, and it kind of brings the point out that it is possible to use the oven to heat the room here without it overheating. So that's I'm very pleased with that so far, and I don't see any immediate reason why this couldn't go on. I could maintain this fire. It does take some, you need to pay attention, and because if it gets too low before you refuel it, you may lose it. So and of course if you refuel too early, then you have the risk of overheating again. So this is quite satisfactory for the time being, and let me just examine how it looks. Yeah, there's still a nice amount of wood in this piece here, so I think it'll probably can go on for half an hour more. One minute past 4 o'clock. So let's check here. Still nice embers, but the last piece here has now all but been consumed, and we are ready to put in the next piece. A small piece also here of oak. Let me just get the glove. But also it's a very nice temperature in here by now. It's actually gotten a little bit hotter, and that is because the heat comes down from the ceiling. It goes up, of course, and then it comes down. So it's actually a little bit hotter now than half an hour ago. Let's just check it here before it ignites. Here in the middle, 220 we're down to now. Out here, 127. In the back, 105. Quite stable. So that kind of, I'll just give it a bit of air. Ready to go right off the batch. Very, very nice. So we could continue with this. However, this experiment is over by now. So as I said, this has been a good experiment. I'm to some extent now convinced that it should be possible to use this as a heating source without overheating this room. I've even closed the door here in the far end to the hallway, so all the heat is contained in this room. So until next time, thank you.